The question: does evolution disprove Christianity? The answer: evolution is false, but in the hypothetical scenario it was correct, it still wouldn't disprove Christianity. One of the biggest claims misleading people into thinking God doesn't exist is the idea that his existence has been disproven by evolutionist science. Now, just to be very clear, evolution is false and will be addressed as such in later videos. However, since some people refuse to accept that it's false or genuinely think it's true, so before we go further, we need to take a moment to address whether or not evolution would actually affect God's existence if it were correct. The plain answer is no. If evolution was accurate, that would just mean that it coexists in the universe with us and God is part of God's creation. People have come up with plenty of theories about where in the Bible evolution could fit. Some proposed theories are that the 7 days of creation were actually 7 periods of millions of years, or 7 very slow days. Some people suggest that there is a time gap in between the two passages in Genesis where it is mentioned that God created things. Others believe evolution may have occurred in between the fall and flood as a result of the fall, but not over millions of years. In all those cases, the historical evidence of Jesus and the objective reality of God wouldn't change if any of that was accurate. However, what would change is how literally or metaphorically we understand certain passages, and that's an intellectually slippery slope. Strictly speaking, a person can be a Christian and an evolutionist, as the Bible never even remotely states that salvation hinges on the accuracy of one's knowledge. So long as one walks with Christ, you can probably be wrong about secondary issues and still be a believer. However, I'd like to highlight that accepting evolution is dangerous. It teaches us that we can compromise in between society's ideas and what God says. The Bible quite plainly says we cannot reconcile Christianity with worldliness, so believing evolution already sets one on a precarious path. Compromising also teaches us that we can adapt the meaning of passages to suit what the world is saying and chalk it up to metaphor. Many false teachers prey on the spiritually vulnerable and mislead them by twisting what passages say to fit an agenda, and when a passage is shown that disproves it, they'll say the word, verse or even the entire book is metaphorical. It essentially implies that the Bible can say whatever we want it to say, but that's incorrect. If that were the case, it would no longer be true, as the truth doesn't adapt to suit our preferences. Jesus teaches us that the word divides. The truth is like a sword that cuts bone from marrow. Jesus said to be the salt of the earth. What good is salt that changes its flavor to be the same as the dish? Jesus also said to be lights in the darkness. What good is a light that tries to reconcile itself with the darkness? A helpful passage concerning this is the parable of the Good Samaritan. Jesus teaches us that a Samaritan who enacts godly behavior pleases God more than a selfish priest. For context, the Samaritans had objectively incorrect doctrine about where to worship. Something we can learn from this is that you can be godly and incorrect, and that's better than being ungodly and correct. However, the passage does not promote or justify Samaritan doctrine. Being wrong alone won't kill you, but it certainly won't help you, and nothing good will ever come from being wrong. Various passages highlights the importance of sound doctrine. So even though evolution itself isn't lethal to Christianity or to Christians, it also doesn't help and can easily lead to more damaging problems. To conclude, no, evolution doesn't disprove God, and wouldn't even if it were correct, but I again cannot stress this enough, it isn't good or correct.